And now it's here. Or should I say, I am.
What's up, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Marvel Buddies podcast. It's me, Micro. How's it going? How's everyone doing today? It's also night here. We got a new background. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, it's the intro to the X-Men versus Street Fighter. Yeah, it's cool. I figured you'd enjoy it. Is it a little loud? I hope it's not too loud. Pranay, can you tell me if it's loud on stream? That way I can...
Let me see here.
Yeah, that way I can fix it up. I will... It's on Wallpaper Engine, so I figured.
No, it's alright.
Well...
Not too loud.
Okay. Well, it dies down and picks back up a little bit, so... It's good? Right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drag this over, and while I talk, I'm going to put the links in chat. But,
anyways,
yeah,
background.
The background, I know, it's cool, right? Okay. So, we are doing this week a character that you know and that you guys know. Yeah, I know, right? I know, it's X-Men vs. Street Fighter, the prequel to Marvel vs. Capcom. Sick, bro. Anyway, I've done a character this week, right? And for those who have not seen Twitter, I have brought a character who is vital to understanding the legacy that is this other character who may or may not have a movie out, okay, currently.
Wait, what? And it's a character that we know?
Yeah. He's been in movies. He's been in the movies before. He's in everything. And you know him. Do you want to take a guess?
There's a lot of characters that I may or may not know.
He's in a movie that just came out like 3 days ago. So
3 days ago?
Marvel related. Oh, okay. I'll give you another hint. His name rhymes with bank.
Bank?
Yeah. Come on, bro, you got this. Yes,
wait.
It is from Quantumania.
Oh, wait, the Antman movie.
Yeah.
King.
No.
Oh, no, we did King. We did King, right?
We did King.
Yeah, we did King, alright.
Tony Steak. Yeah. Tony Steak.
Bank?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say Antman, no.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it is?
There.
It
You're
is?
Kinda, not really, but kinda, yes. Technically, yes. Also not, but yes.
But not the character itself, like Antman. No.
Technically, yes, but no, I can't. You got this, bro. It's right there. I know it is.
Bank. What the hell rhymes with bank?
I'll give you another clue. His last name, rhymes with limp.
Limp?
Or no, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Lim? I guess lim. I guess yeah. That's a good rhyme. That's a good rhyme for that. Bank lim. Bank lim. Yeah, that's a good one.
Bank lim.
Yeah. Bank lim.
Oh my god.
He's like super old in the movies. Michael Douglas plays him. Come on, dude. I'm giving
Wait.
you everything.
Are you talking about like he has like white hair?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot.
Hank Pym. Yeah, we're talking about Hank Pym this week, the original.
Oh my
Ant-Man.
god.
Yeah, it's all good. So I want to get into the Ant-Man and the Wasp characters. I want to get into the Ant-Man and the Wasp characters since we talked about Kang and a lot of them are new. And so in order to kind of talk about Scott and how he becomes Ant-Man, you have to talk about the first Ant-Man, right? And so the first Ant-Man was Hank Pym. Now, Hank Pym and the character of Ant-Man was created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Larry Lieber back in 1962. So, in 1962, right, the United States was currently at the height of the Cold War. So, um, a lot of the times when characters, it's Henry. Yeah, Hank is like a shortening, kind of like how you get like Andy from Andrew, or Dick from Richard. You get Hank from Henry, or Chuck from Charlie, or other way around, or yeah, Charles from Chuck. Yeah, Richard and Dick. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Charles for Charlie. Yeah.
Yeah. So Henry and Hank is an abbreviation of Henry. So, they debuted in Tales to Astonish number 27 back during the height of the Cold War. So, because of that, the scientists of the Cold War, right, all got together and were working on technology that could help the United States to win the war for the United States. So Henry doesn't want to work on that technology, like the technology that they're talking about. He is really interested in ants and biology, and he decides that he wants to study technology involving shrinking and growing, right? And so the first comic that we see him in is Tales to Astonish number 27, back in 1962, and it's titled The Man in the Anthill, right? And I will show you what it looks like right here. Here's him being dragged into the anthill, and he looks different, right? Typically, Hank Pym is seen as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy with is really buff kind of ish, but they changed him up back in the original ish viewing. Here's that Tales to Astonish back in January 1st of 1962, right? And he is the man in the anthill, right? And so it starts with Henry actually developing the Pym particle, right? Which is what allows him to grow and be big and, you know, change sizes, right? So, here he is. He's like, living nightmares can begin in many ways. Henry's begins with triumph, right? And he's like, oh, it works. And he, changes the height of the chair to shrink and grow. And he's excited because he can finally... Look, man, I just have the fighting game in the background because I figured it had Marvel characters in it, and it looked kind of cool to have in the background instead of Miss Marvel. I can change it if you guys prefer. I don't know. You guys let me know in chat if you prefer Marvel versus Capcom, or if you prefer X-Men versus Street Fighter, technically, or if you prefer the Captain Marvel banner. I just have it playing there. I can turn off the audio too. Here, hold on. Let me pull up Wallpaper Engine. Let me hit him with one of these first before I do anything. Just because. Here, I will drop the audio on that. That way you just have the fighting, and then I'll go back to the main menu. So there's no more audio. Let's see. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, is this better? I don't know if the audio is too much or not. I can put it back. You guys just let me know what you want, what you prefer. When it comes to background, that way it kind of looks and has something going on, not just like me talking and then nothing over there going on. Anyway, Hank Pym discovers the Pym particle, right? And all of his colleagues are like, you're wasting your time. You should just be focusing on, like the technology that we tell you to work on, and you shouldn't right. Here's the other scientists telling him like, yeah, you should stick to practical projects, and he's like, it'll work, and I only want to work on things that appeal to me. Right, and he just there, he tells you, he's like, oh, so what's that? Like, what's the technology that appeals to you? And he's like, I won't tell you yet because you'll all laugh at me, but I'll show you. I'll be a better scientist than any of you guys, right? And he goes back into his lab, and he starts working on the Pym particle, right? And he's in his lab like alone for months, right, just sitting there. But finally he figures out how to do it, and he comes up with the idea of using the Pym particle, right, to shrink down cargo, put it in a shrunken down box, and then you can deliver millions of cargo all around the world, all right? Especially, say, like, weapons and bullets to the front lines of a proxy war, right, like Vietnam or something like that, right? And then have those, and then grow them immediately and have those, stuff like that, right? I mean, he was more thinking of, like, your Amazon product, right? Like, delivering your, say, expansion of Marvel Champions to you, but, like, you could buy, like, 20 billion of them, right? And
Oh,
they'll be like kind of small, and
yeah.
you will only pay for a fraction of the cost, right? Because it's you're not delivering such a big product. It's very small, so shipment should be minuscule, right? Um, and he furthers it by saying an entire army could be transported in a single plane because they can all be shrunken down inside the box, right? And then delivered on the plane, and then you lay the box down and
Yeah.
grow it, and there's the whole
That's really
army.
smart.
Yeah. So so he decides to test the serum on himself, right, to see if it'll actually work on like living beings, right? So here he is dropping the pim particle on himself, right? Oh, what the hell? I went back to the beginning. Anyway, he drops the pim particle on himself, and he instantly starts to grow, or shrink. Sorry, he starts to shrink, and he is the size of an ant, right? He is very tiny. I'm trying to pull up the picture. He's very tiny, tiny dude. Right here he is, right? And he's like, he's like, oh, I don't have the growing, serum to drink. I left it on the ledge of my house. How will I ever reach it? I'm only a centimeter tall. And so he cries out for help, right? He's like, help, help, I need to get up to the top of the window, right? And he's like, no one can hear me because I'm so small. And then, unfortunately for him, right, something does hear him. What do you think hears him?
Ants.
Yes, a colony of ants. They're like, we hear something. And so, unbeknownst to
Oh
Antman,
God.
yeah, a colony of ants start making their way to him, right? And he's not big enough to like step on them. Like you ever see the movie The Ant Bully? You know what I'm talking about. I know
Oh
you know what
yes,
I'm
yes,
talking
yes,
about.
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. It's the Ant Bully. This whole comic is the Ant Bully, right?
Oh
It's
my
him.
God.
It's him being taken by the ants, right? And he's trying to run away from them, and so they're all coming closer, and he's like, the only way I can make it out is if I hide in their anthill. So he runs into their anthill, right? And it's like a tunnel system. So he's going through the tunnel, right? It's a straight line, but there's a hole in between. So he falls through the hole because he's not looking. And when he falls, he lands in like honey, right? And he's kind of trapped in the honey. Look, here he is, kind of. This is like so small. Can I make this picture bigger? Let's see. This is really tiny. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. So here he is, like trapped in the honey, right? But one of the ants manages to pull him out of the honey, and so he's like, oh, how did he free me? How did he know like I wasn't gonna hurt him or he wasn't gonna hurt me? Like, how, he's like, he did it. He freed me, and now he's not letting me go. He doesn't want to hurt me. See you later. But yeah, that's him. And then the other ants end up coming to like, I don't know, kill him or whatever. He is like invading their ant territory, so he's gotta make.
They gotta
out.
protect.
Yeah, they gotta protect the hive, the colony, right? So he suddenly he sees a matchstick, and he's like, if this is like good enough, it's like still usable, I could take it and light it up and then use it to like torch away the ants, because ants and fire are yeah. So so he ends up like lighting it on fire, and then making his way out with a lasso. But on his way to the top, there's another ant, like not like, I don't want to say a queen, but like a king ant or something like that, like a big dude. Bro's like the knight or something, I don't know. But he was like, oh no, it's another ant waiting for me, and then he ends up being grabbed in like the ant's pincers, right? So he can't really move, he can't get out of the way. And so he's like, I have an advantage. I have a human brain. And he studied judo, so he throws the ant. He like judo tosses the ant. I don't know how he does some like kung fu move and drops the ant, and then
On an ant.
Yeah, on an ant. He does judo on an ant, and then crawls his way out. For anyone doing judo, got outdone by Antman, and he makes it out of the anthill, right? But he's like, I still have my same problem as before. I can't reach the serum that's on my my window. It's like, how can I get up there? And then he sees the ants coming to get him, and he's like, it's hopeless. They're gonna get me. I can't run anymore. I have nowhere to go. And then he's like, maybe if I point at the window, they'll realize that I'm a friendly person, and that they'll understand me, and that I can get to the top of the. This is some bullshit from the '60s, bro. Like,
No way that like the ants are that intelligent that he knows like
well,
what he's trying to accomplish.
Well, I mean, ants are fairly intelligent beings because they can kind of construct themselves and use themselves to like build structures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he points at it, and one of the ants that comes to help him is the same ant that freed him from the honey, and then he's like, oh, he ends up like riding the ant like a horse and then crawling up the side of the window because ants can go up like the side of like buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And they end up going up to the top, and he lands on the serum, and yeah, that's pretty much it. He gets to the top of the serum, and starts to grow. You know, he here he is. Hold on, let me pull it up. But here he is. He's sploosh. He drinks the serum and he starts to grow. There he is. Bam. And yeah, he's growing. I'm growing. And he's like, he's getting bigger and bigger. This is also a funny time to make a wiener joke, but I will not do that. I am not below those standards, people. This is below me. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep disconnecting. I think my internet.
Oh no, now I see you now. I see you
You
now.
see me? I'm good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope my internet isn't disconnecting. I know they're doing like, so like fourth wall break for people. In my community, they're setting up a like new light for like a 4-way like road, and so like I constantly keep getting like they keep trying to put it up and they keep fucking it up. This is the same question to you construction workers. If you're watching the Marvel Buddies podcast, how many of you guys would take to screw in a light bulb? You morons. Taking up my Wi-Fi, bastards, U.S. government, God.
It's like they pay for your Wi-Fi, bro.
Yo, they're literally doing construction to set up an intersection, like a traffic light on an intersection, and I only can get Time Warner cable out here, because I'm like in a remote area, and
Yeah.
and so. It's not bad. I don't have bad internet. Like, I have pretty decent internet. But it's like, anytime they're doing construction, and it's always the same damn thing, that they're like, yo, Time Warner will be like, hey, so your internet's gonna cut out or whatever for a little bit because of the construction going on. And it's like, dude, they've been working on the same traffic light for like 7 months. How many of you morons does it take to... I'm about to go up there myself, I swear. Anyway. He ends up. Where did I lose you guys?
You lost us after the part where he's like bigger and bigger.
Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, I made the penis joke. You guys laughed. Whatever. He ends up dumping the Pym particles. He's like the shrinking particles. He's like, I can't do this anymore, right? Like, I can't give it to anyone. I can't tell anyone what I made because I've made such a awesome weapon, but I can't use it because it'll hurt people. Especially, it can get people hurt, especially with the ants out there. There's more ants than there are people, so, the ants out there are going to kill us all. And so, he ends up pouring it and telling in the next, like, scientist meeting, he's like, yeah, I failed. I'll go back to doing your practical projects. And then, they go back to a kind of, like, little thing where it's like, our tale is ended except for one brief note. Never again did Henry Pym knowingly step upon an anthill, for he knew that somewhere beneath him, unknown and unrecognized, was one little insect to whom he owed his life, right? And so that's the end of Hank Pym, right? But it's not the end of Ant-Man, right? So, I should say it's not the end of Hank Pym either. I tried to be cool with my words there, and I fucked up. But he comes back, don't worry. But he ends up rebuilding the Pym particle, right, for the other... Oh, shit, I moved the banner, trying to move my Discord over. But here is Tales to Astonish. I think this is 32. I think Tales to Astonish number 37. 37 is written November 1st of 1962. So it's later on in the year. He ends up coming back. Same guys, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, and Larry Lieber end up rewriting a Ant-Man story. This is Ant-Man's first time like fighting a real big bad villain dude. So, we see the astonishing Ant-Man trapped by the Protector, right? So, the Protector.
Wait, is that the villain?
The villain is the Protector, right? And it starts with a jewelry thief, right? It says that each day, 1,000 tales are etched in the city of ours, and it begins with a jeweler named Gerald Marsh, who staggers to his feet. Outside, we hear screaming, wailing, the screaming wail of an approaching police car, right? And so, Hank Pym is working in his lab, right? The police sirens get detected by the ants. The ants' antennas can pick up like electromagnetic frequencies, and he picks them up. They pick them up and they're like boop 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 boop, and they send them over to a computer that Ant-Man or Hank Pym is working on, and he's like, oh, there's trouble down at 523 Elm Street, right? And so he puts on his outfit, and I'm not joking when I say this, launches himself out of a cannon. That is how Ant-Man deploys, you know? You got Iron Man in his suit. You got Ant-Man in his little cannon. Here he is putting his helmet on. It's really hard to see. I'm really sorry. Here,
Oh.
I know it's the picture is minuscule, and when I save it, it's just as big as this. I don't know what to do here, but I promised there would be more pictures. But he shoots himself out of a cannon, and hold on, let me fix this shit up. He shoots himself out of a cannon, and here he is. Hold on, I think this is a much better picture. Let's see. Uh-oh. Let's see if I can get this to work. Here he is. Here is Ant-Man, right? And he launches himself out of a cannon and flies, right? And then he ends up landing on a pile of ants. Or he while he's flying, he tells the ants to like make like a little, what do you call it? Like, you know when dudes are like a bed of ants, like a bed of ants, kind of.
Oh.
And he lands on them, right? Boop. And he's like, they've obeyed my every command to the letter, right? And so he gets to the guy whose like jewelries have been robbed, and he tells him like, the police, they were here, and where the police go, I go. So I need you to tell me what happened. And he's like, it was the Protector. He beat me up. And he's like, okay, so who's the Protector? And he's like, the Protector is an inhumanly powerful criminal who has been terrorizing all the jewelers in town. He makes them pay for protection. They're too scared to refuse or even call the police, right? And he's like, today he came into my store and he wanted money, but business is bad, and I couldn't pay, and he picked me up and beat me up kind of situation, right? He beat me up, or he picked me up and then used his disintegrator ray. Here he is, the Protector, and the guy with the disintegrator ray, and whoosh, he blew up the jewels and turned them all to dust, right? And so he's like, that I'm sure I'd obey him, and then to make sure I'd obey him, he knocked me out, and when I recovered, I called the police, but like all the other store owners, I was too scared to sign a complaint. And the guy was like, okay, thank you, Mr. Marsh. Ant-Man's like, thank you, you've been amazing, thank you for all your help. And so Ant-Man ends up leaving, right? He ends up walking away, but not before someone catches him on like binoculars. And so Ant-Man ends up going back home. He ends up getting away, and he ends up tuning the frequency to try and see if he can find where the Protector is. And he finds out the Protector is on 600 Harley Avenue, extorting money from a jeweler. And he's like, I just hope I can get there before he hurts anyone, right? And he gets to the store, and the Protector is stealing jewels from a jeweler, and he tells his ants to like break the jewels and like take them away. And while they're doing, the ants kind of break the jewels and leave all the like pearls on the floor, and he kind of slips on them, like cartoon from the 50s style. Like he hits them with one of these. Hold up, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I have the audio for it. Hold Hold on.
Whoa!
Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Is it this one? Is it this one? Yeah. He hits him with one of those. One of those like doo-doo-doo-doo, and he slips and falls, right? Yeah, one of those. Wrong one. But
Whoa.
whoa, yeah, shut up. I hit the wrong button. But it's one of those like, you know, this was written in the 60s and it's meant to be a cartoon, and so he ends up using the disintegrator, right? And it sprays an acid that ends up like leaving the floor where Ant-Man is walking on. Like he slips on it and he falls down a manhole, but he ends up catching himself on a lollipop stick, right? And then the ants end up saving him, and he ends up using the ant elevator. This is an actual thing. He has an elevator. Look at it. Here
Out
it
of
is.
ants?
No, it's an actual elevator, but it like it's only made for like ants. So it's really funny, and you can see the whole thing if you guys want to in Tales to Astonish number 36, which is the previous one, I think it was. I think Tales to Astonish 36 was the one before this one. Yes. He ends up using the ant elevator and then making his way back to his like house or lab or whatever, and he's like, I have to find a way to trick or be able to get the Protector to fight him, to like get a good chance to beat up the Protector. What do you think he does? This is the most goofy ass thing he could possibly do, but what do you think he does?
The Protector?
No, Ant-Man. To like bait out the Protector. You know, the Protector wants to steal jewelry. He wants money from jewelry thieves. So what do you think he does to bait out the Protector?
He gets an army of ants to like distract him or something.
No. All right, you ready for this goofy ass shit that he does? He gets his own.
It's something I wouldn't expect.
Yeah. All right, you want to know what he does? He gets his own jewelry store. Yeah, this is like so to be fair, right? Ant-Man has been around for a while, right? But I really wanted to talk about the main focuses of Ant-Man, and I'll kind of break them down. And it's his origin, his first time as Ant-Man, right? And then the other two things I want to talk about are his relationships and his like intelligence, right? Because he's one of the smartest people in the world. Maybe not in the 60s, but because his whole plan was to build a fucking jewelry store so that this guy could come in and be like, oh wow, more people to harass with jewelry. And so, but that's exactly what he does. The dude comes in and starts haggling him, and you know, he pulls out the gun, and
That's
disintegrates him. And Ant-Man, you know, he's there, he's in front of him, he shrinks, and he notices that the machine is spilling oil, right? The machine is leaking oil. It's like, it was a good thing I prepared for the Protector when he entered the shop. So yeah, I pressed a button which sent electronic impulses to the ants in the areas, and then they had instructions to climb up his boot. And then now all I have to do is follow the Protector, right? So the Protector ends up leaving, but he has ants on his boots, like sending him signals on you know, like where he is, like, oh, I'm on 5th Street, I'm on whatever, right? And so he ends up following the Protector, right? But I shit you not, how do you think the Protector ends up stopping Ant-Man?
He just, I don't.
This is yo, I'm telling you, this comic does not make sense. It's like fucking goofy as shit.
Bro, Ant-Man is goofy just in general.
You want to know how the Protector ends up like foiling Ant-Man? Because he goes into a trap. He steps in a trap. What trap do you think he leaves for him?
Who, Ant-Man or the Protector?
The Protector leaves a trap for Ant-Man. He leaves a trap for Ant-Man. Ant-Man gets stuck in the trap. What trap do you think it is?
I want to say honey.
Honey? No, he already did that. He did that in the other one. He gets vacuumed. he gets sucked up in a vacuum cleaner, and the Protector is just like, oh, hold on. That's the wrong one. The Protector is just like, yeah, I gotcha. He's like, greetings, Ant-Man. I knew that sooner or later you'd find my hideout, so I prepared this trap for you. Don't you think I'm clever using my vacuum cleaner?
Jesus.
And he ends up gluing up the like top of the. So you like pull out the dirt bag where like the
Yeah.
like dirty stuff is. He like glues it off so he can't get out. But Ant-Man is like riding ants, so he just has the ants break the bag. So, so it's like, wow, what a nice plan you had there, buddy. And all the
Bro.
dust ends up like, he like all the dust ends
None
up
of
on
these guys are clever, bro.
bro. That's all I have to say to them, bro. Like that's all their plans. Like they all have like this like goofy ass plans. So there's a fan there. So Ant-Man ends up using the fan to blow like smoke into the Protector's eyes, right? And then from there, he just suddenly can't function anymore, right? Like he can't see, so he just can't work, and
So
the police
he
arrest
just-
him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. The police arrest him. He's like, "How did you know it was you got your message, Ant-Man, but how did you know it was how did you know who it was, right?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Marsh, the jeweler, the guy from the beginning, the one that faked he said that he was hurt by the Protector, the guy from the beginning." And he's like, "Yeah, I predicted it was before because the Protector beat him up, but business was poor. So why would the Protector go shake someone down for money when he knows there's no one to pay for? Like he knows the guy doesn't have money. And also his like machine was leaking oil and he had oil. So, yeah, 1 + 1 = 2. And that was that, right? That was the first time you get to see Ant-Man.
You know, I never thought this comic would go this way.
Like he'd be as
Like-
goofy as hell.
Yes, I thought Ant-Man would be clever and like, he would shrink back to normal size, uppercuts him, and then shrink back down to like tiny man, and then like I don't know, just keep shrinking back and forth, fighting him.
Yeah, no, he definitely didn't do any of that. It's also, to be fair, during the 60s, everyone thought like there weren't that many like developed powers, right? So everyone thought like some of the like smaller stuff was really cool. So like flying, like just having wings and flying was like the coolest shit ever, right? Just being small was like the coolest shit. You didn't have to innovate. You were just small. That's cool, right? Having feet for hands or hands for feet, that was cool, right? We'll cover the Beast at some point, but that was cool to the people in the 60s, right? They're like, wow, that's sick. He has hands for feet. Or wow, that guy has wings. Or wow, this guy can shrink, right? Or wow, that guy has a suit of armor that he has to recharge once every 20 minutes, right? Or oh, that guy can throw a hammer. That's pretty cool, right? My mom doesn't let me throw my hammer, So everyone thinks that those are like some cool powers, but like it's not until like the 70s when you start seeing people with like actual powers. And so for now, a lot of those powers are really like not developed yet. So it's like when that's like that scene where Ant-Man has to like jump through the keyhole and get big immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a thing that he does, right? Because it's like the time that it takes for him to shrink and grow, because he has to go from like 5 foot, 4 foot, 3 foot, 2 foot, a centimeter, right? That kind of stuff. So he has to like shrink and grow physically. So it's not like it takes a while for him to do this process, right? It's not instant like Ant-Man, even though like in the first movie they showed it wasn't immediately instant. It was just but
yeah, he still had to develop
his power. Yeah. But yeah. So apart from Ant-Man, right? I don't want to talk too much on this subject, but Ant-Man has had a couple of relationships that have not been the best. Specifically Hank Pym, right? So let me finish typing this real quick. Okay, so for those who know, right? There's a reason why Marvel and like the MCU have not made Hank Pym the Ant-Man that we know. And it's not because there's also Scott Lang to introduce. They could have done both at the same time, because Ant-Man could have become the Yellow Jacket like he did in the comics in the 70s when Scott Lang was introduced. the main issue as to why they didn't want Hank Pym there was how he ended up treating Janet, right? If you don't know who Janet is, it's the Wasp, right? And so it's a little weird, but you have to keep in mind it's the 60s. So when I explain this to you, you just have to understand it's a different time period, okay? But the next comic that we get into is Tales to Astonish number 44, which is titled Ant-Man and the Wasp Battle the Creature of the from Cosmo, right? So, it is the first appearance of the Wasp. Now, again, I want to do the Wasp separately, so I will not touch up too much on this, even though I have the whole comic, like, saved. But Ant-Man, right? He's alone in his office, and he's like, man, I'm fucking lonely here. It's just me and these ants. So he decides to, like, think about, like, his wife, right? And the story with his wife was she was Bulgarian during the Cold War, right? So if you don't know, the Iron Curtain in the USSR covered Bulgaria. So she left Bulgaria to go to the United States and marry Hank Pym, who is a scientist. In doing so, she gets put on, like, the KGB or whatever kind of, like, Russian police you want to call. She gets put on their, like, watch list, and the guys end up coming to America and like, kidnapping her, taking her back, and they say his original wife, not Janet, but Maria, who is Bulgarian. And she ends up, getting taken, and Henry is insane. He goes nuts. Like, he gets arrested multiple times for, like, trying to beat people up, and he's like, they end up finding her body, right? Maria's body, and they tell him, like, she's dead, she died. For simplicity purposes, I will let you know that Maria is dead, but technically a part of Maria still lives, if you want to call it that. Hank ends up having another daughter who becomes the Wasp, who is Nadia, and we can get into Nadia a different time. But basically, she ends up going back to Russia, and there's an explosion, and she dies or whatnot, and Ant-Man goes insane, and he's he's in his lab, and he just works for months on end on his lab, and he becomes Ant-Man, right? And he ends up doing his work, and he comes back to, like, the present of, like, thinking of himself, and he's like, I became Ant-Man and developed these unstable molecule clothing to wear and my cybernetic helmet to communicate with ants, and it's not enough. I need more. I need a partner to stand by me and carry on if I'm ever defeated or whatever, someone that can continue doing what I do, right? And, like, fighting the good fight. He's like, I don't know, but perhaps someday I'll find someone, find the one, and when I do, they'll be ready and they'll be able to be my partner and help me out in my line of work, right? And he works, he gets no sleep, but he gets a ring at his doorbell, and it's a scientist, and he's like, hello, Henry Pym, I am Vernon Van Dyne. I know you're quite famous, and we're both scientists, we have a lot in common, and I need your help. And he brings his daughter with him, Janet, right? Janet Van Dyne, and Henry ends up saying, like, wow, Janet looks just like Maria, but she's kind of a child, right? She looks like a child. And Janet's like, wow, he's really handsome, but he's a scientist, and I prefer more adventurous kind of guys, not like bookworms and scientists. So they end up having a conversation. It's really pretty much just about a piece of technology that Vernon is working on to communicate with aliens. And Janet is bored out of her mind. So while all this is going, he's like, Henry basically tells him, like, I can't help you. So it's not in my field. I specialize in cells, and you work on like alien technology. It's not gonna work out. And he's like, all right, well, I guess we can go. And Janet's the first one out the door because she's like uninterested. So Henry goes back to work on his ants and thinking about how lonely he is, and all the while, Vernon goes back to his lab trying to fix his machine, and he ends up getting it to work while at the same time Janet leaves to go to like a dance or whatever, like clubbing or whatever, and he ends up using it and testing it to see if it works, and it does, and a ray of like light ends up hitting him, and we end up seeing a creature, a viscous flowing presence that fills the room, emanating like clouds of snakes, right? And he's like, I am from the planet Cosmos, deep in space. We of Cosmos are a fluid form of life, and I escaped to your planet through this ray. And he's like, you escaped? And he's like, yes, I'm a criminal. I'm the greatest criminal of Cosmos has ever seen, and I almost succeeding in destroying Cosmosian society and making all of them my slaves, but I failed, and now I'm safe here. And he's like, here I can do what I can to go back and destroy Cosmos, but first I need to destroy your machine so that no one can follow me. And he ends up breaking the machine, and dude just smells like, if you want to look at him, like, he looks like he smells. But here he is. This is him.
Yeah,
he looks like he smells. Bro is a stinky one.
I smell like sewage or something.
Well, he is liquid, and they call him viscous. And when Janet comes back and she finds her, first of all, her dad is dead. An alien came and pretty much killed him. But when Janet ends up finding it, he leaves like trails of sludge, but also her dad's dead body is there, so there's like a reek in there. It's like, it smells.
Oh.
So here she is coming back, and she's like, it's like, what is that awful mist? Ugh. Right? So there she is, and she ends up calling Henry. But dude is a dickhead, bro. She calls him, and she's like, my dad's dead. Please, I need you to come and help me. And he's like, geez, I know you're a party girl, but you gotta like chill. Why would you say something about like that about your dad? And then he hangs up on her.
Oh my goodness, bro. That's that's messed
That's
up,
fucked up, bro. But like, he doesn't believe her. He's like, she's just a kid. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And and then his aunts end up telling him that these aunts are like, yo, this dude dead. And they're like, oh shit, we better get down there. And he ends up going, here, I'll show you another picture of him launching himself on his catapult. I have a better picture of it. Yeah, he launches himself through a fucking catapult. Here it is. Here's the Antman catapult. He launches himself on that, and then here he is. He like, you ever see like in the circus they shoot the little like dudes?
Oh yeah.
That's him right there. He ends up getting launched. Dude goes flying.
I don't know when to like be serious and just like,
and, like,
yes, because like it's a mix of like
funny
a comedy
and,
but like
and,
serious
like,
at the same
stuff.
time.
Yeah,
like
yeah. They're like, a dude's dying, but I'm also launching myself out of a cannon. So
yeah.
So yeah, it gets pretty intense, but he ends up at the Wasp's apartment, and he's like, hi, I'm Ant-Man, I'm sure you've heard of me. And she's like, yeah, I've heard of you, I thought you were a myth, but my father, he's dead, he died in his laboratory. And here he is. Like, the police came and then just didn't take the body away. So here he is next to the body. It's just like still there. And yeah. And he's like, I can tell that the machine is broken, but it was made of like titanium. So, and there's a heavy metal. It's like something alien must have done this. Like, he already knows it was an alien that did it. And she's like, I love my father. He was the finest man on earth. I wanted to help him and avenge him in any way I can. And he's like, call it a woman's intuition, but I know that it was his experiment to reach, outer space and communicate with alien life forms. He's like, I know that was the cause, and somehow I'll find out if it takes the rest of like my life. And he's like, he's Ant-Man the whole time. Again, the whole comic, Ant-Man is pretty much lonely. So he's like, wow, she has such determination and strength of character. I wonder if she's like, no, no, no. Look, I gotta stay focused, brother. We must stay focused, right? That's his whole mindset. He's like, maybe she's the one, and he's like, nah, nah, nah. We gotta stay focused. So, he ends up telling her, he's like, call the FBI and ask for a guy named Lee Kearns, and then call Ant-Man and go to his lab immediately. And she ends up calling the guy, and Ant-Man ends up going back to his lab and talking to the ants. He's like, what did you guys find out? And the ants end up speaking in English, right? Because he can translate what the ants say. And they're like, the creature that was in there, the mist it left contains trace of formic acid, right? And, because it left this acid, it means that it is some sort of ant, meaning the ants can't help him. They're like, it leaves a trail that us ants like. And so that means it's related to us, so we can't help you. And so Ant-Man is on his own. No ants to help him, and he's lonely. Bro hasn't showered in months. He stinks. He's sad and alone and has no girlfriend. His wife died in an explosion, so so here he is. He's like, Janet's at the door. Perhaps I was wrong in asking her to come here and carry out the plan that I have in mind, or maybe maybe not, right? So he opens the door and he's wearing like a robe, and he's like, Dr. Pym, my father. He's like, I know you want to avenge him. Are you really serious? Would you risk anything for justice? He's like, I meant what I said. I'll dedicate myself to finding the murderer. But you probably think I'm just some foolish female. Obviously, this was written in the 60s, so, misogyny, a little bit of that. But he's like, what I'm about to tell you, no one else in the world knows. And in doing so, I'm putting my life in your hands. But I tell you this because I need a partner, and I've chosen her. I am the Ant-Man, right? And this is the first time he ever tells anybody that he's Ant-Man, right? And there's Johnny's like, you, but of course, and he's like, what do you mean you've chosen a partner? And he's like, I can make you as small as an ant with my shrinking gas, and then with my specialization in cells, I can inject you with like a cell that can give you wings and an antenna, and basically make you a human wasp, right? And he's like, and now you can, bro is fucking experimenting on a little girl he's never met in his life. He met her once. He met her for like 30 minutes today. And he's like, you're the one. You. I'm so lonely. You're gonna be the one. That's gonna be the wasp. I know it's you.
You're gonna need my sidekick.
Yeah. He's met her for a fucking day, and her dad dies because he couldn't help. And now he's kidnapped her. She's the wasp now. And he injects her. And, while all of this is happening, while he's injecting her and testing with her, the monster is blowing up, like, the pier and, like, buildings and stuff. And he tells her, he's like, the electronic impulses are coming in, so we need to start shrinking and getting ready for the mission. And she shrinks, and he sets her up with the belt. And here she is. This is how she is when she first appears. If you remember the scene in Antman, the movie, when she goes into the quantum, when she gets stuck in the quantum realm, she blows up the missile. The suit is very similar to that design, but not. It's more of like a 60s version of it. Here it is. And so he's like, the specialized cells, they work. I have wings, and I can hear things through my antenna. He's like, the voices of the insects, as you hear them through my cybernetic helmet, you'll know them, and you'll be able to communicate with them. So all you have to do is try your wings now. And so they end up flying away. She flies away. He ends up launching himself on his fucking catapult. Fucking goofy ass motherfucker. And he lands on the ants, and the ants tell him, like, we can't help you this time, man. There's something about this guy. And so the U.S. government is shooting down the U.S. military is shooting down the alien, and nothing's working. And he tells them, like, Wasp, he tells Wasp, he's like, you can't be so foolish. You can't, like, run in head first. And she's like, fuck it, I know what I'm doing. And she, like, runs head first into the monster. But like the ant said, there's something going on that's disturbing their connection, and she has an antenna now when she shrinks. So the antenna ends up, like, fucking around, and she's like, I can't concentrate on, like, where I'm flying. She almost ends up crashing. Ant-Man ends up saving her. And he's like, you can't look directly at the monster or it'll confuse you and hurt you. So he ends up going back to his lab while the entire United States is getting blown up by an alien. And, and he's like, I know what to do. I'll make an antidote to formic acid. That way the ants can end up helping us, and we can get rid of the formic acid of the enemy. And he's like,
Wait, so he's gonna turn the ants into giants?
no, he's gonna pour like solution on the alien monster because it's made of like water. It's like a sludge, right? She's like, I'll
Yeah.
pour this antidote on it, and it'll get rid of the formic acid, and hopefully it disintegrates. But if it doesn't, the ants can help us fight because there's no more acid on it, and
Oh, okay.
that's what's causing her antenna to mess up. That's what's causing the ants to not fight. It's the acid is messing them up, and so. Do you want to know how they get the? You want to know how they get the acid to get on the? I can't make this shit up, dude. You want to know how they
Bro,
get the acid onto the monster?
I don't think I'll ever guess because this man is like predictable, unpredictable.
Unpredictable. Okay, so they end up making, they end up making shells out of the gas, and loading it onto a shotgun. And the ants carry the shotgun and the shells, and he ends up firing a shotgun at the monster, pouring like hitting it with the antidote, and the monster ends up disintegrating because it got hit with the solution. And she was like, "We did it." And he ends up like celebrating with her, and she ends up like believing that he's what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's in love with her, but she's like
Oh,
because he secretly he's in love with her, but he's like she's too young. She's too young, right? Which
yeah.
which by mind you, she should be at least an adult. She's not like this isn't some like pedo stuff. She is at least an adult, right? Um, that I know of. Gray lines here, but
Uh,
uh,
FBI opened up.
yeah, for real. But you know, here let me hit you with one of these. Anyway, for those who know where that's from. Anyway, but she ends up saying like, I'll, he ends up calling like the FBI and letting them know what happens. Like, the FBI guy's like, Ant-Man, listen, I want to meet with you. We're fighting the same things, and you can't keep doing it by yourself. And they hit him with the cliche of like, I'm not by myself anymore. And then her in her head, she's like, I will always be beside you, and you make me realize that I love you, and I'll keep being your partner until you realize, just your partner until you realize that you love me too. Right? And that's the end of the comic. That's how that ends. Now, before I go, there's one other comic I want to talk about, and I skimmed through this as fast as I could because you have to understand that Marvel kind of wrote this off differently. But Hank Pym is responsible for a lot of wins for the Avengers, right? After this, Ant-Man and the Wasp end up joining the Avengers. They're founding members of the Avengers. It's Ant-Man, Wasp, Iron Man, and Thor, and as well as the Hulk. They are the founding members of the Avengers. And the Avengers, with the Avengers, right? The team ends up changing a lot. So Iron Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp leave, and Thor, and Hulk. Oh, Hulk leaves by episode 2, and then they get Captain America and Hawkeye, Quicksilver, and the Scarlet Witch, and then the team ends up changing. So the team currently, we're going into the future now. This is 1972. This is the Avengers number 55, written September 1st of 1968 by Roy Thomas and John Buscema. John Buscema is a really, like, if you guys don't know who John Buscema is, he's a really, really big writer. Almost every, like, storyline that you know, like, main storyline that you know, and a lot of characters that you know were written by, John Buscema. Like, Stan Lee created these characters, but he didn't really pioneer them the way they were made. Like, he kind of said, here they are, but you guys have to figure out, like, what's going on.
Oh, like figure out their
Figure out their story. Yeah, he's like, here's this character. It's your turn to write him, right? And so that's what happened with a lot of characters, right? A lot of their stories end up getting done by different people. And like specifically smaller characters, like he wrote Stan Lee's big thing that he focused on was Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. he created the X-Men, he created Daredevil, he created the Avengers, but primarily the big stuff that the big famous stories that are Stan Lee related are typically Spider-Man and um the Fantastic Four. It isn't until Chris Claremont comes in where he ends up writing the X-Men stuff that you know, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, that kind of stuff. And it isn't until John Buscema comes in where he ends up writing all of the Avengers movies that you know, apart from the first one with Loki, because that was the very first Avengers movie. The second and third movies, which are Age of Ultron and Endgame or Infinity War, right? Those are kind of, for the most part, written by John Buscema. And so a lot of the wins here Ant-Man is responsible for, especially also Kang Dynasty, right? The first time Kang shows up, he's beaten by well, technically he's
Wait,
beaten by
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa. Oh, I thought you were gonna say a spoiler from the movie or something.
No. This is in the comics. This is in the comics, but the we covered this. But when he shows up as the Scarlet Centurion in the Avengers comic, I promise this will have no spoilers. When he shows up as the Scarlet Centurion, he's beaten by Ant-Man, right? Ant-Man is a big pivotal character that helps fight with the Avengers, and then there is a time when Kang the Conqueror shows up, right? And he shows up in, I don't know if you've seen images of it, but he shows up in his chair, right? And Hank Pym was working on something that would help him, that he believed would help the entire world if this was made. And so it's a little robot by the name of Ultron, right? And he creates Ultron, and he ends up saying Ultron will be able to help the world, and he is fixated on Ultron. The one thing with Ultron, right, that he programs into it is Ultron is unable to hurt the Wasp because he loves the Wasp, right? So he's like, you will be unable to hurt the Wasp at all in any way, shape, or form, but you will be able to, with your programming, stand up to villains, help us fight villains, right? Help us take care of threats. That way, I can focus on my studies as a scientist, and you can go save the world, not me. And the way Ant-Man ends up kind of corrupting is, Ultron ends up getting corrupted is he fights Kang, and he ends up hacking into Kang's chair and seeing the future. And he realizes the future is like fucked. Like, this is terrible. This is a terrible place to be. So he decides that the only way to, stop the future from happening is if there's no more humans, and that's where the Age of Ultron storyline comes in, right? And then he creates Vision. Vision will literally appear.
Does he appear in the comics?
He does appear in the comics. Not in this one that we're about to talk about, because this is the first appearance of Ultron, but he will literally appear 2 comics after this one, or 2 or 3 comics after this one, sorry. This one that I'm about to tell you about is the Avengers number 54. Number 54 and 55, and then there's one more filler comic where Steve has like PTSD from Bucky, and then Vision shows up. And so it is the Avengers, and they take on the Masters of Evil. One of the big Avengers are Ant-Man villains is in there. Whirlwind, he is the green guy. They're all green, but I'll show you who Whirlwind is. This is Whirlwind right here. Whirlwind right here. You have Ulysses Claw, big Black Panther villain. The Radioactive Man is another. He is a big Ant-Man, I guess, villain. He's also sometimes a Iron Man villain. And this is the Molten Man. He's an Iron Man villain as well. And they form the Masters of Evil. And then you have here the Black Knight, originally a member of the Masters of Evil during the first iteration. We covered the Black Knight back in the day. This is the good Black Knight. This is like his first or second time showing up. And then here are the core Avengers rosters, right? So you have the Black Panther, you have Hawkeye, you have the Wasp, and I'm not sure if he goes by Giant Man here or if he's still Ant-Man. It looks like he's Giant Man now. Actually, no, he might be Ant-Man still. But Pretty much, Hank Pym is, um, there's been a series of people invading the Avengers mansion and like breaking in, and so he decides that the best thing he can do is booby trap the Avengers mansion. Um, yeah, yeah. So he's like, I will booby trap the Avengers mansion. That way, you guys can't get in, right? You can't get in. The like villains can't get in. And he tells all the Avengers like how to break free from the booby traps. And then he's like, I will tell Jarvis how to break free from the booby trap, right? So he calls Jarvis down, but Jarvis isn't who he seems to be because this Jarvis is actually a spy for the Masters of Evil. So he tells Jarvis about the booby traps, and then the Masters of Evil get told about the booby traps by Jarvis, right? And Jarvis tells them, and then the Masters of Evil end up getting contacted and hired by this guy, this hidden dude that no one's met before. His name is the Crimson Cowl. For those who know or who have read the comic, or for those who have more specifically played through Marvel Champions, you'll know who the Crimson Cowl is because it comes in the game. It's the first villain, like the first of the three that you fight back to back, because you do Rhino, Claw, Crimson Cowl. So the Crimson Cowl is this guy's hidden. You don't know who he is. He's a very mysterious man, and he tells them that he wants them to break into the Avengers compound and let them know and like contact him when they've subdued all the villains. And that's exactly what they do. He's like, he's like, what's your business? Why do you want it? He's like, all I know is you've offered me good money to bring you, information. He's like, no, where's my pay? He's like, we'll find out. And the Masters of Evil the whole time are like, can we really trust the butler of the Avengers with this information? And it ends up being good because they end up capturing the Avengers, specifically the main one being the Wasp, right? So the big thing with Ultron, right, is he knows he's imperfect because of the Wasp, right? Because he can't hurt the Wasp. So they end up capturing the Wasp, right? He's like, you need to get an uproar claw. We have more important things, and they end up trapping her in like a salt shaker. And then they end up capturing the Avengers. They break in, the Avengers are unprepared, and they capture the Avengers, right? And he's like, Black Guy tells him you have to stay calm, and he's like, we're hardly in any position to make demands, just answer us now. And he's like, you'll see. And he ends up calling the Crimson Cowl, right? And the Crimson Cowl tells him, he's like, so since you called me, I know you're successful in your mission. And he's like, and they ask him, like, why were you interested in capturing the Avengers? And he's like, I don't want to tell you because you're my underlings, but I want the Avengers to know who it is that beat them, right? And he takes off the cowl, or someone else takes the cowl off for him, and it's Ultron. Ultron 5, right? The 5th iteration of Ultron. And under the other cowl was Jarvis, so that they know that it was Jarvis who betrayed them. And here Ultron is beating the shit out of Jarvis. Here he is beating the shit out of Jarvis. And I'm pretty sure that's all I have for that. Is there another one after that? Nope, that's it. That was what I brought for Hank Pym.
Hank Pym is
so
really interesting, and
yeah. So I will say, right? I will say. Hold on, give me a second. I need to open this up. I will say, Hank Pym, right? Okay, perfect. He is deemed by a race of aliens came down, right, and said, we need to figure out who the smartest scientist of your planet is. And so they're like what, like these aliens, right? They watch and study all the scientists carefully. They literally come down and declare Hank Pym the smartest person in their planet. Now, the reason, before I get too far into this, the reason, and I kind of wanted to touch up on this I spoke about it before, but the reason Scott isn't is Ant-Man in the movies and not Hank, right? Is for one reason and one reason only. And John Buscema continuously tells us that he didn't want this to be the legacy of Hank Pym because it was kind of like miscommunication between himself and the person that was drawing, because the person that was like drawing it, I'm assuming, didn't have like, he wasn't friendly with John or whatever. They weren't like in the best relationship. So Hank Pym isn't the Ant-Man in the movies because he beats his wife. He is a wife beater.
Oh God.
Yes, that he ends up in one comic. He ends up beating Janet, and Janet, like, freaks out.
And they didn't want to show that in the movies.
Yes, because you can't have a superhero who's a wife beater.
Yeah, you can't have a superhero that's like gonna be a bad influence to like.
The children. Yes. So
Yes.
that is the main reason why Hank Pym isn't a decrepit old man in the movies. I shouldn't say that. I love Michael Douglas. If you're listening, Michael Douglas, I love you. Please get on Marvel Buddies with me. We'll talk about a Hank Pym again. No, but yeah, like Scott Lang and Hank Pym are around the same age, right? Like 37, 42 kind of situation, right? They're close around to the same age, just meaning that they could, in theory, be working together, right? And they could be like because which it is what ends up happening. Scott ends up stealing the suit. Hank becomes a Yellow Jacket, and you have Ant-Man and the Yellow Jacket, right? So it's like two different kind of variations of the same character. But Marvel wanted to write that off and just keep Hank how he is, right? Keep all the good stuff about him, get rid of all the bad stuff about him. And the bad stuff was when he got big, his brain stopped working, and he beat his wife.
Wait, so how about Yellow Jacket in the Ant-Man movie?
Mm-hmm. Darren Cross's
Is
character.
he? Yeah, is he in the comics?
He is. He is a big villain for Scott Lang, and it's the first time that you see Scott, the Ant-Man that you know of from the movies. The first time you see Scott, he ends up fighting the Yellow Jacket. We will touch on that next time because I probably will do Scott Lang next time. But yeah, he Scott Lang is currently Ant-Man, or also Ant-Man. But the Yellow Jacket is Scott Lang's arch nemesis.
Wait, so Ant-Man is no, Scott Lang is Yellow Jacket.
No, Scott Lang is Ant-Man, and Darren Cross, the bald guy from the first Ant-Man movie, is the Yellow Jacket. After Ant-Man wins and they get the suit off of him, Hank Pym wears the Yellow Jacket suit, and he becomes the Yellow Jacket.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he ends up using the Yellow Jacket name as like a hero thing. So him and the Wasp end up having a similar color scheme and whatnot. Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
I'll give Ant-Man just in general like a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Because like it's full of comedy, but also like serious at the same time.
Yeah, and that's how the movies kind of are, right? They're like serious at times, but they're kind of funny. So.
But I'm really looking forward to whenever I get the chance to see Ant-Man Quantumania. Because I'm sure it's probably not going to be a whole lot of comedy. Because looking at the trailer, it looks very serious. Like how the movie's gonna be serious most of the time.
Yo, there's some, knowing you specifically, you're gonna be laughing in a couple scenes, bro. Knowing
really?
You. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm assuming you already seen the movie.
I saw the movie this Saturday. I went with Crown to see it. He was in chat. It was a good movie. I personally loved it, and I know there's also to the people out there that are like fucking dickheads and saying that Marvel's ruined because not every movie is Infinity War and Endgame. Fuck you, pieces of shit. You're the reason we can't have good things. No. Like like there are Instagram channels and things I follow that are like, oh, Marvel, they're ruined. Fuck you. They're good. Quantumania was good, and Rotten Tomatoes gave them like a 30 or something like that. Like they said it was the worst
What?
movie ever, but the audience score was like a 90 something. Fuck you, people.
I
You
don't know why
suck.
they just let the audience critique the movie, not
Not
the
the three mom and dads out there that are like,
yeah.
you know how those ratings go, right? They have like parents, right, sitting in the watching the movie, and they critique the movie. They're like, is this something that I want my child to watch? And then they see some stupidity in there, and they're like, this movie was shit. Eh. And that's how the movie ends up. That's like one mom and dad see the movie and they're like, eh. And then they end up getting the audience score, and the audience is like, oh, this movie's amazing. This was like 10 out of 10. And then that's how you get like the audience score and the rotten score. And it's like, this movie wasn't bad, right? But there's those people out there that keep shitting on Marvel. Like, this is my little one day rant. Not every movie can be Avengers Endgame. Not every movie can be Avengers Infinity War. I'm sorry. You're gonna get some Iron Man 2s in there. You're gonna get some Thor the Dark Worlds in there, right? You're gonna get some She-Hulks in there, right? Not all of them are gonna be 10 out of 10. Some of them are gonna be kinda not the best. But you have to have those kinda not the best so that the other movies are fantastic. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Fuck you, people. I know I have specific people out there, right? It's like oh, Marvel's being ruined by like this terrible comedy, or they're like, if every single Marvel movie, right, was as dark and as gruesome as Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, we would be the DC universe. That's how shit it would be. That's you need those lighthearted movies like Antman, like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Thor Ragnarok, and Thor Love and Thunder. And that was a good movie too. Fuck you, people.
Yeah.
You
You
need
know
those.
what? I saw a lot of like I heard people didn't like Love and Thunder
Yeah,
because like it was like too comedic, you know?
yeah. So the thing with Taika Waititi's movies are there's not script involved with it. Like there's no script. Most of it is like free, like what's the word, I had the word, like in improv. Yeah, that's the
What?
word. Improv. The movie is improv.
Improvised?
Yeah, most of the movie is improv. Like you
Okay.
have little bits of script here and there of like what they're doing, but most of the time the dialogue is improv, right? That's why Ant-Man or Thor Love and Thunder and Ragnarok was kind of like funny-ish. It didn't have like, it had, to be fair, Love and Thunder had more improv than Ragnarok, but I don't think it was a bad movie. I don't think it was necessarily like terrible. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
It stuck pretty well, pretty close enough to the comics, and I liked it. I thought it was great. Um,
Yeah.
and it builds up for the next movie, right? And that's the thing with Marvel, right? It's like these movies can't just all be conclusions; they have to build up to something, right? And I hope what you're getting out of my little mini rant here is that you understand that Marvel isn't doing anything wrong. Their movies are great, all of them.
Yeah.
Even
They're just trying to build up
up
to
to
the like the main part, or like the good part where it's like watching an anime,
Mhm.
you're not gonna like it on the first episode, but like give it like a chance,
Yeah.
for it. I don't know how to say it.
You might like the first couple of episodes, but somewhere in the middle you'll get some filler, right?
Yeah.
You know Naruto is fan fucking tastic, right? People love Naruto, people love Dragon Ball, people love One Piece, right? But all of those anime have filler in the middle, right? Naruto goes out for ramen one episode, and then the next episode he's beating the shit out of
Like Sasuke
Obito or Sasuke or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, right. I don't know. I haven't seen all of Naruto. Or I've seen all of Dragon Ball. Right. One episode Goku's fucking farming, and the next episode he's beating the shit out of Goku Black or whatever. Right. So it's like, you have you have to understand, right, that like filler
Yeah.
is necessary to take a break and calm everyone down for this big like battle that's about to like build up battle that they're about to do. So
Yeah.
and that's what Ant-Man
I think that's
Quantumanium
what
was.
people are shitting on.
Yeah, that Marvel are going back to setup, and not every movie is Infinity War and Endgame, especially because a lot of these movies and shows come right after movies like Infinity War and Endgame, and that they're concluding all of this. And so like I will say, um you know Kevin Feige is stepping in on more of the movies and making sure that they're quality, but um, like I personally don't think that a lot of these movies and shows were terrible. Like I think maybe give a little more attention to detail with the like the CGI, because I know that's a big complaint that people
Oh
have, is like
yeah,
Marvel CGI is getting like worse. I mean, Marvel just has to pay their CGI guys better, um, but I mean, you know what it is. You watched have you seen those Naruto memes where everyone was like, Naruto's now fighting a Velociraptor or something like
oh
that?
yeah, yeah,
And then they
yeah,
have that like big nose Naruto. You
yeah,
know, not every episode is gonna be perfect, right? Like, I'm sure Mappa fucks up sometimes, right? I don't
yeah.
know who does Naruto, but I know Mappa does like, um, the big one that I know Mappa does is Vinland Saga. That's the one I'm watching. I know they do like Attack on Titan and all that. But they're gonna fuck up with some drawing sometimes, right? And that's the same thing with like Marvel movies. These movies are
Yeah.
5 hours long, and then they cut it down to 3 hours. I'm sure they left one or two fucking like shitty, scenes
Like
in there.
there, it's not gonna be consistent, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Um. Yeah. All in all, for those who want to watch Quantumania, it was a good movie, fantastic. I loved it. Every Jonathan Majors was fan fucking tastic as King. So I highly recommend you guys enjoy watching Quantumania.
did it meet your expectations, the movie, or did it like exceed?
I don't want you to go in there thinking it's like hot shit. It's like Infinity War, but I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great. There was
Okay, so wait, let me ask this. Like before, like every Marvel movie, that comes out, like as a trailer,
hmm
do you like?
Do I watch
How can I?
trailers?
Yeah, well, yeah. You watch the trailers
Of
and then
course.
you think, okay, I know how this movie is gonna like turn out,
Or
or
you
like,
try to
do you
piece
like
it
you?
together.
Yeah, yeah, like predict it, or because like knowing you, Micro,
Whatever.
like
Yeah.
you watch, you read like a lot of comics, and you
hmm
can like put together, oh, so this happened in the comics, so like this is probably gonna happen in the movie or something like that. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Um. I will say, the ending. The ending was predictable, but it was, or I don't even want to say the ending. The post credit scenes were predictable, but fan fucking tastic.
Okay.
That is the only thing that I assumed was going to happened. Everything during the main part of the movie. Oh, and like a couple things in the movie here and there, like minor details. Everything in the main movie was unique and it was still part like related to the comics, but I loved it. I loved every aspect of the movie, even the shitty fucking scenes that they have that like you'll know when you see it.
Oh God, no, 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 no,
I'm
no,
not saying
yeah,
anymore, but you'll
yeah,
know when
yeah,
you
yeah,
see it.
yeah,
There are some
yeah.
scenes in there that you know you're gonna
Okay,
remember those more than the other
one
ones.
thing I'm like and excited to see in Ant-Man and the
hmm
Wasp: Quantumania is MODOK, because
Okay,
like he's
yeah, he was in
like
the. I
a
know he was in
big
the
fat
trailer.
he's a big fat head, and
hmm
I just want to see like how they
How they do
like made
Modoc?
him.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, how
fucking
they do MODOK.
Modoc is fucking hilarious. Yo, I I won't say anything about him because I don't want to spoil him. I know you've seen like bits and pieces of him in the trailer.
Yeah.
Look, just go in, watch the movie, and enjoy it because I loved it. I loved every aspect of it. Again, I'm a Marvel guy, so I'm probably gonna say that about everything. I didn't even think She Hulk was that bad. And I know you guys are probably out there with your fucking pitchforks and your torches and shit. You're gonna come burn my house down and kill me. Because I said She Hulk was kind of okay, but you
No,
know,
I bet a lot of people were shit on Scar.
yeah, that was the big thing was the CGI on Scar. Um,
Is that one thing you would like agree like
yeah,
on
that
Scar,
CGI
like
was fucking
the
shit. That was bro, they fucked up his hairline. Bro looks like bro bro got a fade and a ponytail, bro. Like I don't know, bro. They fucked him up. Look, I will say, for Scar, the CGI was kind of shit. For She-Hulk, the character of Jennifer Walters, I thought the CGI was fine. I thought the CGI for Bruce was fine. The CGI for She-Hulk was fine. I liked Professor Hulk. I am 100% with Professor Hulk as a character. Because I know some people are like, oh, I don't like what they changed him. I'm for Professor Hulk. I liked She-Hulk. I mean, when you watch and read She-Hulk comics, there are comic books out there that Marvel can't always make their comics for a specific like group of people, right? During the 70s, especially like mid 70s, the big thing was karate, right? You had the Karate Kid, you had all those Bruce Lee movies coming out, right? The big thing was karate. Marvel had to come out with karate characters. That's when you got Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, right? So Marvel had to adapt, right? If they were to push out more World War II comics, people would be bored out of their minds. They'd leave, especially because the big thing is right is karate. Marvel is doing the same exact thing they've always done, and it's try to put themselves where like appeal to the children, right? And Marvel is doing just that. They are appealing to the newer generation by giving them more characters of equality, right? And by doing that, they're doing that with characters that can stand there, right? So like a lot of the people are like, oh, the MCU, right? Like it's fine because they're gearing towards women, because a lot of people are they want to attract more women into the movies, right? Like that's
and there's not a lot of like superhero
women,
women's.
female superheroes, right? Especially a lot of the times they get seen as like skanks. I mean, you can see like half the characters that show up in this like fucking X-Men versus Street Fighter characters, like they're all in skin tight outfits. I mean, like wait for Rogue and Cammy to come back up, right? Or like Cammy's not wearing pants and Rogue is Rogue. So unfortunately, a lot of these characters get like so sexualized, and so Marvel's trying to fix that up. Like right here, bro. Look at Cammy, bro. Wait till she's not wearing pants, bro. But that's the thing, and that they're trying to appeal with it. I liked She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Like all in all,
make it like appropriate for the audience.
Yeah. And they have been doing that. They did that with Spider-Woman. She looked like this before, right? With like all those curves, and now she has like a more practical and like cool suit because she got pregnant and whatnot. It was cool. It related to females, right? Like, and a lot of the times that's what they do, and that, I get both sides of it, right? Like, but you can't hate. You just gotta let Marvel be, because their content, you're gonna go out and watch it anyway, right? And you're gonna feed more money, right? And you can't hate on the movies, because who else is gonna make a better movie, right? They're no one, right? Their competition. It's not DC. It's The Boys and Invincible. That's Marvel's competition right there.
Boys and Invincible.
Not DC. The Boys and Invincible, right? And sooner or later, The Boys is gonna eventually it's gonna tank. Because I know damn well they're not gonna do the stuff in the comics, because eventually it gets too gruesome, right? And Invincible, I can't hate on Invincible, right? But the big thing with
Invincible, it's a cartoon. It's not like a live action. It's a cartoon.
It's not a live action. That's the big thing, right? Like cartoons don't do well with like previous generations. So the only person making good live action content, specifically movies, is Marvel. And you no matter what you say, DC, the Flash movie has a criminal as their lead character, so fuck you. Aquaman sucks balls. Wonder Woman sucks balls. Superman isn't even good a character in the comics. Batman is their best saving character. Green Lantern, fucking pussy. None of these characters are actual good. Can I even say that on the internet? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, that's my opinion on things, right? I like Batman. I like Green Arrow. He's cool. Like those when you start getting into like the niche characters of DC, that's when I start liking them. Red Tornado, he's cool. He's a robot. He's like Vision, but he has wind powers. That's cool, right? But some of their characters, especially like Martian Manhunter, Superman.
Are you hating on DC because like it's a spin-off of Marvel?
No, I'm hating on DC because their characters are stupid. I hate Superman. Like, it's no fun when these characters are like strong as shit and always win, right? And then the only way to beat them is to have someone else that's stronger than shit, right? Like, you know, oh, I have a character. His farts are made of like super smelly, ultra pungent smells that kill everyone instantly, and he can't be beaten. And he's also super strong, and he can fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes, and has every power known to mankind. Like, God, please fucking stop these Oh, but I gotta give him a weakness: a rock. Fuck you. Fuck you. I hate DC, bro. You don't understand how badly I. And then, not to mention that their movies, because their content is shit, their movies are shit, bro. Like, dude, I can't. I'm hoping James Gunn comes in and fixes their shit, because they have some decent ass characters. Like, I love Batman. I love Green Arrow. The more niche you get into, even Superboy, I think is better than Superman, because he doesn't have all those powers. He's just kind of strong. Yeah. I don't know. That's just me. That's my little rant. I'm done. I cursed everyone out that I had to. Cursed out DC and all the people on the internet. All right.
But
yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you know how like you've been debuting these characters,
Mhm.
these Marvel characters from like their first issue.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
are you gonna do the same like to where they are now, like their current issue that they're in?
Okay, so I know a lot of people have been asking me for this, um, and I don't know if that's what they mean or if that's what they want. This is what I do. I like to cover the background of the character for the movie, right? That comes out, right? So if you guys want me to cover a where are they now kind of version of these characters, just vote on it in the forum. I will do whatever the fuck you guys want me to do
That
in the
that
forum.
would be
In the
interesting.
forum. I did that with Doctor Strange, like a where is he now? Because they killed him off.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they kind of killed him off. I think. I don't know. I don't
In the
remember.
comics?
Yeah, but they brought him back. They always do that. They have to reboot characters once every couple years. Um, so it's Doctor Strange's turn to die and come back. They did like Strange Academy. He died and came back. Whatever. They do this every year. Every other year or so, they kill off a character and then they come back. It's the Marvel's rule is everyone can die and come back except Uncle Ben. That's how that works. Literally, that is how that works. No, I'm not serious. I'm not joking to you, bro.
Dude.
I'm not joking. Like, how many times have they brought back Aunt May? Oh, she died, but she was actually a clone. But she died, but she was actually a clone.
What?
Like a million times, bro. I'm telling you, it's a whole thing. I will do for you guys that ask for it. I will do a live, up to date version of these characters. All you have to do is put it in the comments for the forum. Just say in the forum. Just say, hey, I want a character. I want this character, but like, where are they now, right, or whatever. Just put it in the forum. Loki up to date or whatever, right? Because I have a lot of people, and I always get the same two characters that they want me to cover, and it's always Loki and Black Widow. And I've already done Loki. Loki was
Black Widow.
Yeah, Loki was the first character I did, and I'm pretty sure I did Black Widow as well. You guys can look it up on my YouTube. I have the thumbnail for it, so I must have done it.
Out of all characters.
Yeah, they always ask for Black Widow, and yeah, I have Black Widow. She's the third character I did. I did Loki, and then in my YouTube there's Loki, and then there's Black Widow. So I think it's time for me to do some events. I haven't done some events in a while. House of M was the last one I did, I think. Right? I did the timeline of the of Marvel, but I haven't done like a event. Okay. So, yeah. I'm just looking back at my YouTubes. I have a couple of events slated. Let's see. I'll tell you guys like now what I'm planning on doing if you guys want to watch. I've gotten a request for Rogue, so I might do Rogue, the X-Men character, but I might wait for the Marvels movie to come out, because I'm assuming she's gonna have a place in that movie. I did Ironheart, I did Namor, I might do Black Panther. I still have to do Black Panther. I eventually I want to get to Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom's gonna be huge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm still missing Elsa Bloodstone from when I did the Werewolf by Night trio. But I could be wrong. I missed out on Elsa. I have Iron Man and his dad, Taskmaster and Crossbones, to do all of the Eternals characters. Thanos. Did I do Thanos? I don't think I did Thanos. Deadpool. I will
Wait,
get.
how would you do the Eternals?
I'll break them down individually.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Um, Thanos, Deadpool, Venom, Captain Marvel, Blade, the Silver Samurai, Shuri, and then I think I have some more here. I have All New Avengers, which was a comic event, and Secret Wars, which I did. Like, I think Secret Wars was like my like it's an event in between, but I lost three files got corrupted when I got my new computer. It was Hitmonkey, Secret Wars, and Blade. So I will do a new up to date version of those characters, especially because Hitmonkey is getting a season 2. Blade is coming out. He's getting his own movie, and Secret Wars will eventually come out. I will cover the Secret Wars comic when they talk a little bit more about it. Maybe in the future.
Or like, or like in
When
the
Marvel
movies.
announces usually okay.
Yeah.
So usually the videos do a bit better, right? Little tidbit for me when they're like newer characters, right? Like up to date live characters, right? That are making movies of. So that's typically my mindset is like when a movie comes out, I can cover a character that you guys may or may not know, or like a character that has influence, or a character that belongs to said movie, and that way, or an event that belongs to said movie. That way, you guys have a background for it, right? And watch my YouTube video, and then I get views from said YouTube video, right? That's our Twitch streams, right? That's a little insider on how I tend to like align my characters. And then when there's nothing, I just give you what you ask for, right? Which is like whatever you put on the links. Okay, that was pretty much it. Do you have any other questions before we head off here?
Is there such thing as a King Dynasty
Yes.
in the comics?
Yes.
Oh, really? And there's no event for that in
I'm pretty
the
sure it's just
podcast?
Kang Dynasty or Kang. We'll talk about it. If you guys want it, vote for it. It's on the forum there. Pro Knight, if you want it, you can vote
Because
for it too.
yeah, because we know that there's a movie coming out, the King Dynasty.
I will talk about it. Kang's Dynasty is a bit tricky. Kang as a character is a bit tricky. We talked about him, and
Because he has like there's so many variants.
So many variants, yeah. So I kind of went over just the Kang origin because there was a lot of it, and I think I talked about the Scarlet Centurion, but Kang is a rabbit hole, man, because
And we don't know what kind of variant we're gonna see in the King Dynasty movie.
I'm assuming. Okay. Yes.
Okay, bro, I just blew your mind, didn't I?
No, I don't want to spoil anything. So.
Okay. So we'll just leave it at.
I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just gonna leave it at how it is, right?
Wait. Am I going
anything.
to see like what variant he is in the movie?
I'm not saying
Okay. Well, I'll just stop asking questions.
Watch the movie, bro.
Yes, I'll watch the movie. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, it's exciting, especially with Kang and Antman.
Bro, because like, if you thought like Thanos was like the best and like good villain, then I can't wait to see how Kang is, or Doctor Doom's coming after Kang. So like,
in my opinion, my villain ranking with Marvel, Doctor Doom, Kang the Conqueror, Thanos, right? For the big ones. That's how big I go. Loki, I don't know if you guys want to consider him a villain or an anti-hero. But Loki would be, if as a villain, I would probably put him at 4 or 3 or 4. Between Thanos and Loki, they'd probably fight for 3rd place. I just think Kang the Conqueror is a very influential character. When it comes to the timeline, he's affected everybody. And Doctor Doom's character, I will eventually get into Doctor Doom, but Doctor Doom's character is the most badass villain in all of like pop pop culture. Like,
Yeah.
not just Marvel. Any fiction depiction. I don't see a better villain than Doctor Doom. Darth Vader, nope. Palpatine, nope.
I mean, I could see
That one
why,
guy
like,
from the Lord of the Rings, nope. The Night King from Game of Thrones, nope. Like Doctor Doom solos all of that. Like I really do think he does. Doctor Doom is. We will talk about Doctor Doom eventually. I have him ready. I just have to find a day to make a Doctor Doom comic. I am waiting for
yeah,
Marvel to give us news on who is playing Doctor Doom and when he comes out and whatnot. I will talk about Doctor Doom. I thought he was going to be the second post-credit scene for Black Panther, and it's why I had him ready. Sorry.
oh,
So he wasn't. I had prepared for Black Panther 2. So I had Shuri, T'Challa, Namor. Um,
how do you feel about like doing a podcast twice a week, like Monday and Friday?
I don't mind doing it. Maybe not Friday, because I have work. I work Thursday. For people that don't know, I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sometimes Sunday, sometimes not Saturday. Depends. My schedule is always changing. I don't mind doing Friday. I know I had a couple requests for Tuesday. I don't mind
But
doing
like Friday
Wednesday.
at a certain time, though.
Eventually, yes. I just not this week because I have to open the gym on Saturday. I work
Yeah,
at a gym, so I don't want to stay up too late because then I won't get sleep.
yeah.
Um, but I will if I can.
Because like there's a lot of characters you gotta
I
talk
gotta
about,
talk
and like,
about, yeah.
and
I will.
then when
This is.
Marvel announced like the news,
Mhm.
how you gonna like cover up those
Yeah,
characters?
I usually like doing a news section before, but there's nothing to really talk about besides that Quantumania came out.
Yeah,
Without spoiling anything. Um,
got you.
so like I mean, there's news like they have a release date for the new Captain America movie and whatnot. And we have information for Secret Wars and whatnot, but or Secret Invasion, I mean, sorry, but I will give
But
better news
you,
when I have better news for you guys.
yeah,
And I don't mind
but
doing a
you,
podcast twice a week. I had a form, for you guys to vote. I might consider like a Wednesday or a Friday. Those are the two, like Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. To me, are the better days to do the second episode. I like Monday, cause alliteration, Marvel Mondays, right? I didn't mind do. I used to stream Wednesdays. I did the Wednesday streams for the video games that I played, the Marvel games that I played. Because I have a couple Marvel games in here, right? You guys probably can't see this, but I have in here I have Marvel's. Oh, you guys definitely can't see that. Let's see. Do. I don't know. Whatever. I have Marvel Snap, The Avengers, Midnight Suns, and Tabletop Simulator. They stopped supporting the Avengers. I still have Midnight Suns that we have to finish on stream. I started it with you guys. I will finish it with you guys. I have not touched it since. I have Tabletop Simulator. That is only for when I play Marvel Champions. I want to get the Guardians of the Galaxy game and then the Miles Morales and Spider-Man games because they're on PC. But I want to wait to see if they drop Wolverine and all that on, and I'll play them on stream. The days that like whatever days Pro Night or I can't make it, I'll play the game on stream. But I do want to talk about doing this twice a week or something, just in case like my whole
yeah.
thing was like if I
Just
can't
like get caught up with
get
like
caught
all
up,
the other characters.
yeah.
Because you see, what I'm saying is like, what if Marvel's like announced something, a news, and like, oh my god, look, I gotta talk about this character. But at the same time, there's
Mhm.
other characters that you haven't talked about yet that you still have to like
Talk about, yeah, of course.
yeah, talk
Um,
about.
and that's the good thing. Like for example, this week, if I wanted to talk about like Ant-Man and the Wasp, I could do Ant-Man this week and the Wasp like sometime later in the week, right? And then we could still keep on that trend because then like next week I could do Scott, and then the following week I could do Hope or whatever, right? And
Yeah,
we can do back to back to back to back episodes like that. I don't mind doing that, right? I just need I just need you guys here. I will actually leave you guys this. I will leave you guys with this. Where is it? Um, there it is. I had this before. I will. It's still open. You guys can feel free to vote. That is a day. That is a form for when you guys want me to stream. Just vote on it. I left it all there on the side. You guys can vote for, um, my upcoming characters, whatever event, game you want me to play. I don't care. Pick what I do next week, kind of thing. You have the Marvel Buddies podcast, Twitter and Twitch or YouTube link there for you guys to go to. Um, and then for any questions you have, you can message me on Twitter. I probably won't see that, or you can email me on the Marvel Buddies podcast. I will see that because that goes directly into that's connected to my Gmail. The Twitter is also connected, but I'm on my personal Twitter more than I am on my main Twitter. So, or my Marvel Buddies Twitter. So, my editor, one of my editors will see the message and let me know. Hopefully. But yeah. Any other questions you have for me before we head off?
No.
All
I
right.
think that's about it.
Awesome. He graded Antman 10 out of 10. I'm a huge Antman fan. I love him as well. I'll give him a 10 out of 10 as well. But yeah, that was Marvel Buddies this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode and our little rants and our little maybe we should do this and this and this kind of thing. And how goofy Hank Pym is. But I will see you guys next week for more Marvel Buddies, or maybe sometime this week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll peace out, guys.